You're listening to Everyday Husband Quotes, a podcast that teaches you how to love, grow, and enjoy the journey in marriage. And I'm your host today, Aquilyn Moore. So let's get started.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Husband Quotes. So I am the person behind Everyday Husband Quotes, Aquilyn. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started in this podcast today. So I hope that you guys' day is going well. This is being recorded on a Sunday. So I've already been to church this morning, and I actually have a date a little bit later. So I'm going to try to, I guess, just get some work done in between. But my Sunday has been going really, really well. Normally I try to cook Sunday dinners on Sunday, but this particular Sunday, I guess like they say, everybody is out for themselves. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce our topic today, which we will be talking about gratefulness. And the reason why I wanted to talk about gratefulness is I have like a whole story lined up about why I wanted to talk about this topic. And it's just, I don't know, it's just so ironic that this topic came up and the things that led up to this topic. So I'm excited to share that with you guys. I try to be transparent when I'm giving information because I feel like if you're transparent, you know, that will get you connecting with people on a different level. So gratefulness. I got into this topic with gratefulness a couple of days ago, probably about that first week starting in February. And what I want to say is this is going to be a series of gratefulness, meaning that I am going to, you know, put quotes out there, put little pieces of video out there every day for the next 7 days. So during this 7 days, I want you guys to grab a journal because you're going to need a journal to journal in. Now, I'm not asking you to write like 5 or 6 sentences. I'm only asking you to write 1 sentence in your journal about what you are grateful for. And I want you to focus that gratefulness on your husband, meaning don't focus it on yourself. Try to focus it on your spouse. But I will tell you, once you start writing about the things that you are grateful for about your spouse, about your marriage, then you would want to write something in your journal that you are grateful for about yourself as well. But I want you to start with your spouse and then write something grateful about maybe somebody else or yourself. And we're going to be doing this for the next 7 days. I feel like in marriage sometimes we get stuck, or if you have been together as long as me and my husband have been together, then sometimes it can feel routine. And I like routines, but I don't like routines in our marriage. I like for things to be spiced up. I don't like coming home every day, cooking, watching TV, going to bed. I mean, it makes our lives work, but every now and then I like to spice it up and try to do something different. And if my husband agrees to it, he rolls with the flow. If not, I got to come up with something else. So for the next 7 days, you will be writing in this gratitude journal about what you are grateful for in your marriage, or something that your husband, you know, did for you, something that was nice. And I have actually already written out everything in my gratitude journal. So I am a little bit ahead of you guys. But even though I started and did it for 7 days, I'm going to continue it because it has really helped me just as an individual, as a wife, as a mother, as a sister, as a coworker, as a friend, as a daughter-in-law. It has just, you know, really helped me. So yeah, that's one thing that you're going to need for this series. I'm going to go ahead and post this entire podcast on iTunes and on YouTube, but I'm going to be uploading like bits and pieces of this video on the social networking platforms. And also I'm going to be utilizing the Instagram stories. And you know, the Instagram stories are only for 24 hours. So make sure that you guys are looking at them every day. And also make sure that you're interacting with me, which means that I want you guys to talk back to me. I want you to leave me some comments if you give me a thumbs up. But what I'm most excited for is if this gratitude journal really helps you, you're going to want to tell me how it helped you, how it just changed just a little bit in your marriage, and how you can see a little bit of a difference. Now, I will say that sometimes life just gets in the way and it's hard to, I guess, start something new. You know, it's hard to start something new with what you already got going on, but I will say that this is so easy. You can pretty much do this in your sleep. So normally what I do is when I do my 8-year-old's homework, while I'm helping him with homework, I would pretty much like take out my gratitude journal and I would pretty much write what I'm thankful for, which was the previous day. And then if I have something already for that day, I'll go ahead and write it down and bam, I'm done. And I will also say that you don't need like a fancy journal to do this. You guys, I have so many journals. Like if I, just take a peek into and start collecting all of the journals that I have around the house, I probably have close to 100 because that's how much I journal. I don't journal every single day, but I have just different things that I journal about and things that, goals that I'm trying to move towards. And right now is not the season for the goal that I'm trying to move to, but I have it written down so that when I get to that place in my life, I can go ahead and move forward with it. But it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I use a 1-subject notebook. I have used just like little small notebooks. I've even used like the notepad on my iPhone. But I would say you would want an actual journal because you can go back and look at it and read it. And sometimes our phones get lost, so we switch phones, and sometimes that information doesn't transfer over. And then with a journal, you actually have something that's in your hand. You have something visual, something that you can hold on to. Okay, so that's what we're gonna be doing the next 7 days. And I'm gonna be sharing with you guys every day something I'm grateful for. And I'm actually gonna be sharing my first one with you on this particular podcast. And I can't wait to share it with you. I have an awesome story to go with it. And I want to say not every day, it's just an awesome day, but I try to look for things to be grateful for. So just to give you guys a little bit of a background history, the way how this topic came up, what happened was I woke up, it was a Monday, and on that particular Monday, I was just so happy. I was like, I'm not gonna let anybody steal my joy. The sun was out, but it was cold. And I was just like in a really, really good mood. So I end up going to the bank. And when I went in the bank, the teller was like, how was your day? Or how's your day going? And I was like, it's fine. It's cold outside, but the sun is out, but I'm not going to complain, because I'm just happy, that the sun is out and everything is going good. So I leave the bank and it was like, dun, dun, dun. Like that's when I just started going through this whirlwind, which when I look back on it, how sometimes when you're going through a situation, it seems really bad, but then when you look back over it, it doesn't seem as bad as it really is. Well, that's how I can look at it now. But at the time, it was like like my whole world had turned upside down. So I called my husband and, I'm like, hey, this is going on. And, I kind of got a little attitude and stuff and really, really worried. But at that particular moment, right before I called him, like, I feel like I had a choice to either address this situation this way or that way. And of course, I chose the easy route. I feel like the easy way out, because I was going to call my husband and just hope he comes save the day or whatever. So, I was going through that and all of these different emotions was going through. I was like, why am I being attacked? I don't understand this. This is unfair. It's like every time I try to do something good or try to think positive, then I have all of this other stuff that comes hitting me. Like I had really, really felt attacked, you guys. And so, by Wednesday, this happened on Monday. By Wednesday, the thing that we were going through, it started to like lift up, like we could see our way out of it. And as a matter of fact, I didn't realize until that Tuesday of what the solution was to the problem, but I responded so negatively towards the problem. I saw the problem, I instantly responded to it, and I just didn't give it time to just for me to just really like meditate on it and think about how we were going to get out of the situation. And I felt like with me just overthinking it and me being so drastic, then my husband, he was just trying to fix it. But anyway, looking back over it, like I said, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was a big deal, but it wasn't that big of a deal as the way how I should have responded to it. So during these 7 days, y'all, I just tell myself I'm gonna pretty much like stop all of, I just feel like my life was so busy, and I responded, even though I told myself I was gonna have a good day, nothing was gonna ruin it. I hadn't prepared myself just in case something did happen. I didn't prepare myself just in case something bad was going to happen. I just pretty much told myself I was gonna have a good day, which is fine, but I should have been prepared in other ways as well. So, as I'm going through this thing, I'm telling myself, and I'm being really, really hard on myself, that I'm just gonna slow down and go with the flow. I'm gonna stop stressing about everything, and I'm really gonna try to just learn how to enjoy life and take it as it is, because we have a choice to respond to it in a negative way or to respond to it in a positive way. And I was like, I'm just going to respond to it on a positive way. I mean, it's February 2018. Like, it's too early in the year for just me to be like a Debbie Downer, for me to be so negative. So I told myself I'm just going to reevaluate myself, and yeah, just go with the flow. Just go with the flow, okay? So I end up going through those emotions. They were up and they were down. They were wavy like. So I ended up going through it for about 7 days. I take it back. I went through it for 7 days, not about 7 days. I went through it for 7 days. On that 7th day, I kind of started feeling like myself again. Like, I felt like that I had pretty much slowed my emotions down, because my life was still, the same way. Nothing slowed down in my life, but I feel like I had slowed me down. So I was able to connect with other things. My household was getting back in order. I could just feel the energy and stuff was shifting back to like it normally was. And there was even a moment where my husband asked me, why are you so sad? And I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I just feel this way. And I know why I was feeling sad, because I was going through that change, and I didn't know how to respond properly to that change I was trying to change. So on that 7th day, like I said, I started to feel better, but it wasn't to that 8th day that I realized I was completely over what I had been going through. So on that 8th day, I was researching some quotes for everyday husband quotes, and that's normally, what I do to get a good quote. Normally, I take a piece of a quote, I take a piece of my personal life, and I take a piece of another quote, and I merge it together, okay, to create a quote or to create something for everyday husband quotes. So in doing that, something just came to me, and it was just like grateful, and I could see it so clearly. And I said, okay. So I started researching some quotes on gratefulness, being a grateful wife and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, this is really good. And then something else came to me, and it was like, does Oprah journal? And I was like, I don't know, but I know it was telling me to do some research on it or whatever. So I immediately typed it into the Google search engine, and it brought up Oprah's gratitude journal. So I realized immediately that I had seen this journal before. I had actually seen, well, not the actual journal, the article that it brought up. I had seen this article a couple of months ago, and I realized it was the same article, but I guess something may have happened where I didn't get a chance to read the entire article. Maybe I read the first paragraph and I was like, oh, I'm going to go back to it. But the pictures and stuff that was attached to the article, they were still the same. So I began to read the article, and everything, you guys, that I had told myself that I was trying to do during those 7 days that I was going through with my emotions, everything that I had pretty much told myself, Oprah had said it in that article. And then she, had said some extra stuff. So it was like a confirmation for me. So I got to, I read the entire article, and I was like, gratefulness, gratitude journal. And it just started connecting, and I was like, that's great. And with that being said, I was able to, you know, say, well, when I write in my gratitude journal, I'm not going to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on something else. So I'm going to I'm going to read a little bit of what I got from Oprah's gratitude journal and how it, or the article, and how it helped me. Some things that I took away from it is life gets busy. That was like one of the first things that Oprah said in her article. Life gets busy. And when I say that, when that attack happened, my life did not get unbusy. Like nothing changed in my life. I still had to go to work. I still had to come home and take care of my kids. I still had to go to church. You know, I still had obligations that I had to do. Nothing changed, but the thing that changed was the way how my perspective was towards things, the way how I looked at things. So when I say that my life is busy, like I said, I still work outside of the house, and then I have, you know, my side thing, like with Everyday Husband Quotes and with some other things. And then marriage, I have my marriage. I'm a wife and I'm a mother to 2 awesome boys. And then I have other things that I also have to do. And so sometimes in life, when you have people tugging at you every which way, like you feel stretched beyond measure, sometimes it can take a toll on you, or sometimes it can make your life very busy where you don't have time for yourself. So a lot of the things that I value, or maybe that I was grateful for, I feel like it started slipping away. And I don't feel like the things start slipping away, but you know, like when you first get with someone, you be like, oh, I'm so grateful for you. You know, I appreciate you so much. When you're used to something like in a routine, that tends to be on the back burner. Like you're no longer saying those things. You're no longer letting someone know how much you appreciate them, because it just becomes part of your lifestyle. So that's how I felt. And I felt like my mind was always busy, that I never had time to focus on the things I was grateful for. The busyness took away my joy, I felt like, and being busy didn't create a life of happiness for me. With so many blessings and opportunities that were overflowing in my life, I should have been in a very happy place. In 1996, Oprah says that she journaled every day. But as life became busy, her journal entries became less and less. Back in 1996, gratitude was a priority. She went through the day looking for things to be grateful for, and something always showed up. So that's how I've been pretty much like treating my life for the last couple of weeks. I've been pretty much looking for things to be grateful for so that I can include that in my gratitude journal. I love it when Oprah says, recently in the process of building a television network, I got so focused on the difficulty of the climb that I lost sight of being grateful for simply having a mountain to climb. Awesome. Only when I began feeling gratitude for the opportunity to serve a new audience in a new way did a shift happen. Viewers started saying the most amazing things that always align exactly with my vision of what OWN can be. And this was probably right around the time where she had started the Oprah Winfrey Network. And if you guys don't know, like, it was a struggle for her to start the Oprah Winfrey Network, because I think she was pretty much worried about where people are gonna follow her from her talk show to her very own channel. Like, that's big. Like, Oprah, you went from a television show to getting your own channel. And I think at first, you know, maybe she didn't have a lot of supporters and things like that. But as she learned to be, or went back to her roots of learning how to be grateful and finding something grateful in the day, it helped her along in her journey. And that's all what this gratitude journal is about, you guys. It's just to help you in your journey with marriage. So for me, in my 7 days, like I said, my life did not slow down at all. It was still quite busy. But I am now more aware of controlling my emotions, my time, my mind, and to not over process all the thoughts in my head, and to take a few extra moments and appreciate my husband's tone of voice and love more of his flaws. And I had to include love my husband's voice more, because let me just tell you, like, he has a very thick voice. So sometimes he has a very deep voice, so sometimes it's hard to distinguish what type of day he's having or what kind of mood he's in. So if I can just focus on the fact that I just really love the deepness about your voice, it doesn't matter what you're saying. You can be saying the alphabets, but I love the tone of your voice. So that's something that I am really trying to focus on. And then I was looking at a YouTube video by Sarah Jakes Roberts and her husband, Pastor T. Roberts. And they had a video on there entitled 5 Keys for Before and After I Do, which is a Valentine's Day special. It's a little lengthy. It's about an hour long, but I would recommend you guys to watch it. I had time between me going to different accounts when I was out to take the whole day to watch it. So I was pretty much watching and listening to it while I was driving down the road in my car. But something I took from it, I took a lot of things from it, but what I like most about it is Pastor T said that if we can focus on 95% of what we like about our spouse, then the other 5% we can work with. Not to say it doesn't matter, but we can work with. And if you focus more on the positive than the negative, and then when something negative does come up, I mean, you should be able to just like get rid of it immediately. And so Sarah said that in her marriage, you know, there's probably about 0.9% of things that she doesn't like about her husband, but she was like, that's still, to me, not very much to like just nitpick it. So in marriage, you know, we need to focus on as much as the positive than the negative. And if you're at like, okay, I like 80% of what he does, the other 20% I'm still working on, then you know that there's still an opportunity for you to grow in your marriage, which is an awesome thing. You know, I would love for everybody to be at 100%, but to me, would you get bored at 100%, or would you want to continue to grow and learn more about your husband, learn more about your marriage? Okay, I always say that, you know, marriage is for the glory of God. It's for his kingdom. Marriage is a testimony to help somebody else. So I wouldn't want to stay at 100%, because I know that's what we're not supposed to be. We're not supposed to stop at 100%, but I always try to be 100%, but still in the process be willing to grow and learn more. And the same thing applies in our marriage. So I'm going to start off with my first story for the first 7 days. So I have actually, like I said, wrote down all of my stuff, and I started journaling at the beginning of February. So no, I take it back. The second week in February, because the first week I was going through my little thing, you know, that happened. So I went into Guitar Center to purchase some insurance for some drums that we bought for my 8-year-old during Christmas. Okay. And my husband told me we had like 45 to 60 days to try to get the insurance on there. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll go in there before that time. Well, that Monday, when I was about to go to Guitar Center to put some insurance on there, that's the day that, you know, my emotions just got out of whack. And with that being said, I went straight home. You know, I didn't feel like dealing or meddling around with anybody. So I ended up going home. Well, that next week, I went into Guitar Center and I was like, hey, I need to put insurance on these drums. We purchased them around Christmas time. It was a Christmas gift for my 8-year-old. And he was like, okay. He was like, well, you're out of the 45 days. I was like, well, how many days am I on? And he was like, well, you're between the 45 and 50 50-day mark. But let me tell you something. Before I went into the store, I had told myself that I am not gonna overreact. You know, if they tell me that I can't put insurance on it, I'm really going to try to just be a big girl and have a big girl attitude about it. So after he told me that, I was like, well, you know, okay. But he was like, hold on, I'm gonna go talk to my supervisor and see what we can do. So he came back and he was like, yeah, my supervisor's gonna override it and we're gonna be able to put insurance on it. I was like, okay. So he was fiddling around with it, and he must have been new or something, and he couldn't get it, and he was asking his coworkers for help, but he never got discouraged, you guys. So finally his supervisor come over. He was like, I'll take care of it. His supervisor got it done, and we got the insurance put on there. But what I am truly grateful for is that he went over and beyond for me, because I can't say that I do that every time in interactions. I work in customer service. I can't say that I do that each and every time with my customers. You know, I try to value each and every customer, but I don't go over and beyond for every customer. So just to have that happen back to me, it truly showed me that, you know, I need to be on my A game every day. But I was just also truly grateful. And then that night, my husband ended up fixing dinner, and he even offered to fix my plate, which was a plus, because he only cooks maybe like 5 times out of the year, and that's probably like with us having gatherings or having a barbecue separate of our own. So I was grateful for that, because that does not happen very frequently. I am usually the one that's in the kitchen, or if not, going out to get something to eat. So I was very, very grateful for that, you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast with me, with Everyday Husband Quotes. I am so looking forward to these next 7 days, you guys, and I can't wait to get on this podcast to be able to update you guys on all of the comments that I have received, even just to simply get a thank you. I just feel humble and so blessed that you guys, you know, tag your spouses and things, and that you choose to share those things with me. Like, I'm nobody, you know, I'm just out here to put my little piece of what I think marriage should be, what I think will help you work in your marriage. But what I do want you to remember is that marriage is work. If somebody told you that marriage is a fairy tale, your problems go away when you get married, then I don't know where they're from. I guess they're from La La World, but they are definitely not in the married world. Marriage is work. I can preach about that I don't know for how long, but marriage is work, you guys. You have to work towards it each and every day. And sometimes, you know, people say, well, the longer we're together, the easier it gets. Some people say the longer we're together, the harder it gets. And some people say it feels like just like it did in the beginning. But I mean, there are certain issues that we all go through in marriage, and some of us, you know, didn't grow up with the best experience or the best examples, and so we look for self-help, which this is pretty much what Everyday Husband Quotes is about, to provide positiveness in your marriage so that you may have a long and prosperous marriage in Jesus' name. All right, guys, so once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys tune in to those social media platforms. Also, make sure if you are listening to this on iTunes, go ahead and give us some love and comment and rate. If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe so that you never miss out. And all of my little stories that I put on IG, I'm going to try to remember to transfer them to YouTube, just so we can give you guys encouragement. And as always, I will continue to post the quotes on Everyday Husband Quotes platform, which is usually Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All right, guys, I love you to the fullest, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for listening to Everyday Husband Quotes, the podcast. If you want to hear more from me, then head on over to everydayhusbandquotes.com to read my daily posts where I talk about my own personal marriage. And if you want to find me online, I am at Everyday Husband Quotes on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Soundcloud, and at everydayhusbandquotes.com. And don't forget, If you enjoyed the show, then do me a favor and subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. All right, guys, thanks for listening and talk to you next week.